The Flash Season 8 is here with part 1 of the crossover event Armageddon. If you haven't watched the episode last night, don't watch this video, put it in your watch later list, and then come back, because I am talking full spoilers. This was a pretty good first part of the crossover. I wouldn't say it was as crazy as part 1 of Crisis on Infinite Earths, but I think that makes sense because this is a smaller crossover. But for what we got, I thought this was pretty cool. In this part, Barry is teaming up with A.T.OM, Ray Palmer, who we just saw leave Legends actually a couple seasons ago. It's been a while, actually. But he's back here in Central City. There's this big tech convention that everybody's hanging out at. Also, this is 6 months after the events of Season 7, so keep that in mind. Iris is reporting there as part of her new evolved version of the Citizen. So now it's Central City Citizen Media. It's like a full company now. They have staff, they have professional writers, they have administrative staff. It's a big thing now. We see Iris promote Allegra, so now she's gonna be in charge of all the writers, and we see there's this conflict there with all the writers because she's not as experienced as them. What I liked about this aspect of the episode is that we see more reporter Iris, what we've been asking for so many seasons. We kind of almost had it with season 6 until they did that whole mirror thing. But again, I feel like this will be the season where we finally get some real citizen stuff, where we get a lot more of Iris being a reporter. But I did like this story of Allegra kind of coming into her new role as this supervisor to these writers and seeing how they think they know better because they have all these years of experience writing all these crazy big stories, but they're out of touch with the people. And that's why Allegra gets this position, because she knows what the people of Central City are looking for. She knows how to relate to them. So I thought that was a cool arc for them. Now at this tech convention, we see Chester meeting Ray for the first time, and he's his liaison through this event. And the whole arc is that Chester tries to bring in all these people to pitch their ideas to Ray, and then Ray's like, I don't know if I want to do that, because he's kind of taking a break from the big tech stuff, from being a superhero. He's kind of in this weird middle ground place where he's not really sure what he wants to do. He wants to support his family. He wants to do his own little experiments and research in his lab. But by the end of the episode, he realizes that that's what he should be doing, is using his resources, using his smarts to help other people as the A.T.OM and as Ray Palmer. But the weird thing I thought about this arc was that Chester kind of gets in his feelings because Ray tells him that he doesn't want to do all this pitching stuff, and then he starts avoiding him and acting weird around him. That part for me was kind of weird. I'm like, Chester, you didn't really consult Ray before doing all this, setting up this meeting at Jitters. And then when Ray says he doesn't want to do it, then you're like, oh no, I'm the worst person ever. And he like really beats himself up about it, which I mean, like, yeah, it kind of sucks, but I feel like he was a little bit overreacting. I don't know, maybe that's just me. But eventually they do resolve that conflict by the end of the episode, and again, it inspires Ray to keep going with the whole tech thing and to start working with new up-and-comers and then continuing to be the A.T.OM. And now while all that's going on, Barry and Cecile are trying to figure out this crime spree. So apparently, the Royal Flush Gang is back. I actually didn't remember them, but they were in previous episodes in the Arrowverse. So this is actually the return to the series. I thought they were new people. I totally forgot they were part of this. But basically, you see that there's these different events that are happening throughout the episode that are connected to them, besides the Despero stuff, which we'll get to. But first, there's this train derailing at the beginning of the episode when Barry's with Caitlin. He goes to save them, and it turns out that they were doing that to steal something from the train. And then later, there's this chip that gets stolen. But then Barry and Cecile are trying to figure out, well, why are these guys stealing all this tech stuff when before they were just robbing banks and going after money? It turns out they're going after cryptocurrency now, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess that makes sense that this is in the show now. But they're using this tech to try and hack into these sophisticated systems, whatever, to get crypto money, to steal crypto money. And that's kind of the whole premise of it. What I also liked about this arc, though, is that this kind of ties into the whole episode because they keep repeating this theme of evolving, upgrading. That's what everybody is kind of doing throughout this episode. Allegra's upgrading with her new position. She's leveling up. The gang, the Royal Flush Gang, is leveling up with the way they approach their robberies. A.T.OM, Ray, is trying to level up by changing how he does things with his company and as the A.T.OM. And I think that kind of, at first, seemed a little on the nose, but then I liked how it all tied together with the Royal Flush Gang. Something else I noticed, actually, when Barry was fighting the Royal Flush Gang is that he's actually become more cocky because we've seen throughout this episode and over the last season that he's become so much faster. So you can see now he's becoming that cocky Flash that we know from comics and cartoons, which I think is a cool evolution for his character. I am wondering if it's going to come back to bite him later in this crossover. I feel like it is, but we'll have to wait and see. So Barry stops him pretty quick once he figures out what's going on, and then the real villain of the crossover, Armageddon, is Despero. In the beginning of the episode, you see a glimpse of the future where it's absolute chaos, and we don't know what exactly is going on, but Despero goes back in time to stop it. You see him attack Barry, and then he's telling Barry that it's actually him, the Flash, that is the cause of this Armageddon, that things are going to go crazy because of him. So there's this big fight with Ray, Flash, and Despero. One moment in this fight that was really cool is that after Despero transformed into like his big monster form, right? And then they go fighting outside, Ray and Barry are shooting at him, and then Iris and Cheshire are like, Flash, Adam, what are you shooting at? He's over there. And they turn around and he's behind them about to throw a car at him. Like, he has this illusion power, sort of like Loki, and it completely throws them off. And then as the car's coming at them, Adam and Flash shrink together and go through the car. And then once they grow back to being big, Flash is like, okay, now I see what Diggle's talking about, because he's like feeling nauseous. And I thought that was a great callback. So to stop Despero, Adam pulls an Ant-Man, jumps into his little transportation belt thing, fidgets around with it, and sends him off to somewhere they don't know where. They just randomize it. Back at Star Labs, then Barry is kind of conflicted, like, am I actually the cause of whatever's coming? And of course, everybody tries to reassure him that that's not the case. So then they invite Despero into Star Labs, and he's like the 100th villain to end up in there. But he tells him that he is the cause of this crisis, but he does have this ability, this third eye. He first uses that to show Barry the future that it is him, but then he also uses it to check Barry's intentions, like, I guess, read his mind, sort of like Cecile would do. And he's like, okay, well, it doesn't seem like there's anything bad in you right now, so I'm going to cut you this deal. I'm going to stick around for a week, and if I see anything that makes me think you're going to turn into whatever that thing is, I'm taking you down. So, in a way, he's, like, not a villain, but maybe he is, like, an antagonist, but I feel like there's more dimension to his character. I thought he was going to be a big mustache twirly villain, like, I'm ready to destroy the world, but no, I think there's a very specific motivation behind him. Maybe there's someone he's trying to save in the future, or maybe he just thinks that what he's doing is noble. But overall, I thought this was a really cool part one. I think it really sets up this crossover to be something very different from what we've seen before. Despero looks like a cool villain, antagonist, maybe anti-hero. We don't know for sure, but I definitely think there's more to his story. My theory is that maybe there's another villain in the mix that is framing the Flash for this Armageddon when really it's them. I don't think it's going to be Reverse Flash. Maybe it could be. But I feel like there's definitely going to be more to that story, because it would be really weird for Barry to then become a villain like that. Like, we haven't really seen any hints of that besides the whole Savitar thing, but that's out of the way because Savitar's been erased. So I feel like there's another villain hiding in the mix that we don't know about just yet. But I am looking forward to seeing more team-ups throughout this crossover with Batwoman, Mia. I think they also mentioned that they're going to call Alex from National City. So this is going to be really cool stuff for this crossover. I'm excited. What did you think of this episode? Let me know down below. If you want me to cover the rest of this crossover, parts 2 through 5, leave a like so I know that you want to keep watching these. Thanks so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.